What's up, YouTube? Thomas L here. Since Dennis Quaid is in both the thriller The Intruder, which opens this week, and the upcoming A Dog's Journey, which opens in 2 more weeks, I decided to do my top 10 favorite Dennis Quaid movies because he's been around since, like, I think the late 70s and 80s, and I mean, he's pretty much a legend right now, and he's an awesome actor, and he's been in some pretty decent stuff over the years. So, that being said, here's my 10 favorite Dennis Quaid movies. All right, coming in at number 10 might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I don't care which says unpopular or not. Coming in at number 10 is the remake of Footloose. Now, of course, Dennis Quaid actually plays the character who bans dancing. Of course, he plays a character that was portrayed by John Lithgow in the original. Now, this Footloose wasn't as good as the original because, I mean, come on, the Kevin Bacon one is no one could top the Kevin Bacon one. But anyway, the remake was still pretty decent. I thought the one who plays the lead, Kenny Wormald, was pretty good. Julianne Hough, of course, plays Quaid's daughter in this. This was actually the movie that kind of introduced me to Miles Teller, believe it or not. Miles Teller was pretty decent in his part. Yeah, this Footloose remake was pretty decent. Like I said, not as good as the original, but I still quite enjoyed it. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen the remake, I'll say give it a go. I think you'll either enjoy it or not enjoy it. I mean, there are some people who are a little split with the remake, but I still thought it was pretty decent and all. Alright, coming in at number 9 might also be an unpopular opinion, but it's the remake of Yours, Mine, and Ours. Now, of course, it's a remake of the 50s, I think the 1950s or 60s version. And you, of course, have Dennis Quaid as West Coast Guard Adam Frank Bursley, who decides to move his family of 8 children back to his home. And he, ends up encountering a handbag designer named Helen North, played by Renee Russo, who's a old flame from high school. And they, of course, romance ends up sparking between the two. And there's, a marriage proposal that happens. And, of course, Frank isn't the only one with kids to worry about because Helen actually has a total of 10 as well. And it's pretty much, I guess you could say, kind of like Cheap by a Dozen in a way. I mean, I probably still prefer Cheap by a Dozen, but Yours, Mine, and Ours I really thought was pretty funny. Drake Bell and Miranda Cosgrove from Drake and Josh fame, they were both in this. Yeah. I thought both Quaid and Russo, they had pretty good chemistry on screen. There was some cringy moments in this, I admit, but I guess you say it's more of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's a pretty funny little film, and if you guys never seen Yours, Mine, and Ours, I'll say give it a go. I think you'll probably either enjoy it or not enjoy it, because people have been split on this movie, and yeah. Coming in at number 8 is Wet Earp. Now, this is, of course, a biopic about Western lawman Wet Earp, of course, played by Quaid. And you got Kevin Costner as Doc Holliday in this. Wet Earp was a pretty decent little film. I mean, this movie actually got released the same year as another Wet Earp-based movie, which was Tombstone. So I probably still prefer Tombstone over this, but Wet Earp was still pretty decent. Kevin Costner, I thought he was a great Wet Earp. Dennis Quaid was a really good Wet Earp, I meant to say. Why did I almost say, anyway? Kevin Costner, I thought was terrific in this movie. It had pretty other good casts, the other casting in this includes, let me pull up the cast list. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, to be honest with you. But some of the cast members in this includes the likes of Gene Hackman, Michael Madsen was in this, Mark Harmon, Bill Pullman, Tom Sizemore, some pretty good cast members. Yeah, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Wet Earp, like I said, Tombstone was probably a better movie, but Wet Earp was still pretty decent. Coming in at number 7 is The Day After Tomorrow. Now, this, of course, stars Dennis Quaid as climatologist Jack Hall, who is largely ignored by the UN officials when presenting his environmental concerns. And so like his research proves true when an enormous superstorm develops, setting off a catastrophic natural disasters throughout the world. And of course, he's trying to get his son named Sam, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who is like trapped in New York with his friend named Laura, played by Emmy Rossum. Who of course went on to appear on Shameless and all. I mean, this is a pretty interesting natural disaster movie. It was directed by Roland Emmerich, who's on the most hands pretty decent when it comes to natural disasters. Dennis Quaid, he was pretty good here. Jake Gyllenhaal was good. Emmy Rossum, she's always great. It also had pretty other good cast members. Like the other cast in this also includes the likes of Celia Ward, Ian Holm. Some pretty good cast members were featured in this. I mean, this movie is, I guess you could say, more of a guilty pleasure as well. Like it's kind of pure dumb fun, but it's still pretty decent. I mean, I haven't seen this movie for a while as well, but I remember really enjoying when I first saw it. Coming in at number 6 is In Good Company. Now, in this, Dennis Quaid, you know, worked as a ad ex- executive at a executive at a sports magazine, and he's like demoted and replaced with Carter Dara, played by Topher Grace, who's like a rising star in the business world, who is like young, and he's like young enough to be Dan's son. And so, like, Carter's business style leaves Dan shaking in his head and wondering if the young man is ready for the corporate world. And so, like, Dan's life is further complicated when he learns that his wife is pregnant. And also, Carter actually ends up dating his daughter, played by Scarlett Johansson. In Good Company was a pretty decent little movie. I mean, I thought Dennis Quaid was great. Topher Grace is probably one of his better performances in years. And it has some other good cast members, like Mark Helgenberg was in this, Clark Gray, Selma Blair, Philip Baker Hart, Frank Faison, Ty Burrell was in this. Some pretty good cast members appeared in this, and it was a pretty nice little film. I really like the sparks between both Topher Grace and Scarlett Johansson. I mean, I guess you could say this was pretty much Eddie Brock and Black Widow getting together, if you really want to look at it that way. Anyway, yeah, In Good Company was a pretty decent little film. I mean, I also haven't seen this movie for a while, but I remember really enjoying when I first saw it. And it was, of course, directed by Part White, who's a pretty decent director in his own parts. Coming in at number 5 is The Parent Trap. Now, this is, of course, another remake of a 1961 film, and it's about twins, both played by Lindsay Lohan, who are like strangers until happiness reunites them. And so, like, the preteens, divorced parents named Nick, played by Dennis Quaid, and Elizabeth, played by the late Natasha Richardson, are living on opposite sides of the Atlantic, each with one child. So, like, after meeting at camp, they American Haley and British raise any engineer, which are who are identity swap, giving them both a chance to spend time with the parent they missed, and if the scheme works, if it might just make the whole family whole again and all. And now, of course, Parent Trap was the first film that Lindsay Lohan starred in, and she was pretty good in her first feature. And Dennis Quaid was pretty good at playing the dad. Natasha Richardson, R.I.P. Richardson, she was pretty good in her part. I mean, it was also directed by Nancy Myers, and she did a pretty good job at directing this. And it had some pretty funny laughs in it. It had some heart to it. I mean, it's probably one of the rare remakes that's actually better than the original. I've seen the original Parent Trap, and the original was okay, but I probably prefer the remake over the original. But the Parent Trap is really fun. All right, coming in at number 4 is The Rookie. Now, I should probably have talked about this when I was doing my favorite baseball list. And the film, tells the true story about a coach who discovers that it's like never too late for dreams to come true. And so, like Jim Morris, played by Dennis Quaid, never made it out of the minor leagues before a shoulder injury ended his pitching career 12 years ago. So now he's like married. Now he's like married with children, and a so now now I'm married with children, high school, a chemistry teacher, and baseball coach in Texas. Dream, teams makes it like a deal with him, and if they like win the district championship, Jim will try out with a major league organization. Now, obviously, to my 10 favorite baseball movies, I can't believe I forgot to mention The Rookie. That Rookie is a really good one. I mean, it was released by Disney, and Disney have always done some pretty good, solid sports movies over the years. Whether it's Remember the Titans or The Rookie or anything like that. The Rookie was pretty decent. Dennis Quaid was pretty good in his part. I mean, Dennis Quaid has done lots of interesting sport movies, and this is pretty much one of them. The movie was also directed by John Lee Hancock. He did a good job at directing. Let's see. The original Jim Morris actually had like a little cameo in this. Angus T. Jones, who you might know from Two and a Half Men, was pretty good as the son here. Jay Hernandez, who's of course on the Magnum PI, was pretty good. Rick Gonzalez from Arrow fame was good in this. Brian Cox was in this. Some pretty good cast members, and Dennis Quaid, I thought he does sport movies pretty well, and he did a pretty good job with The Rookie. I mean, if you guys haven't checked out The Rookie yet, it's pretty much a classic Disney film. The movie got released in 2002, and I think the movie still holds up today. And it's a really good little baseball film. All right, coming in at number 3 is Inner Space. Now, the film stars Dennis Quaid as Tuck Pendleton, who's like a pilot who is taking part in a experiment. And so, like when some bad guys break into the lab to steal the technology, one of the scientists takes a syringe which contains the miniaturized truck and visa, and so like now in the visa is part of the material needed to restore them. But like the others part, which is like the lab, which the lab ends up being stolen, and so like the scientist is shot but before dying, he injects Tuck into Jack Putter. And I mean, I've also haven't seen this movie for a while, but it's more of a guilty pleasure. It's like a pure 80s sci-fi fun. Like Martin Short is actually in this movie. I mean, this is actually a film I'll be down to see a remake of, because I think a remake could warrant of this. And it was also directed by Joe Dante, who of course did stuff like Gremlins and Small Soldiers. Other people, you also had Meg Ryan. She was pretty good in her part. Vernon Wells. I mean, Martin Short stole lots of scenes in this movie, and he was pretty funny. And Dennis Quaid was pretty good. If you guys haven't checked out Inner Space, if it's on TV or if it's on Netflix or anywhere you can find it, I'll say just give it a go. I think it's an 80s sci-fi adventure fun, Coming in at number 2 is another sport movie, and that is Any Given Sunday, which is a really terrific football movie. Of course, you got Al Pacino as the famed coach here, who I gotta say is who probably gives the best movie speech in this. Of course, you got Dennis Quaid as the 39-year-old quarterback, Jack Cap. You also got Cameron Diaz in this, Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J was in this. Any Given Sunday is a terrific football movie. It was directed by Oliver Stone. He did a pretty good job at directing this. The performances by the cast was pretty good. Yeah, this is a football movie you could probably watch almost any time. And it's a really decent one. and another sport movie that Dennis Quaid appeared in. I mean, of course, after Any Given Sunday, he appeared in The Rookie, and he's done some pretty interesting sport movies over the years, whether it's The Express or anything in those lines. And hey, him and Kevin Costner are probably the king actors when it comes to sport movies. You know what? But anyway, yeah, Dennis Quaid was pretty good as the quarterback here, and yeah, I mean, if you guys never seen Any Given Sunday, I say give it a go. I think you'll appreciate it. All right, my number one favorite Dennis Quaid movie is probably, I think, the one that really put him on the map, and that is Great Balls of Fire. Now, here, of course, Dennis Quaid plays rock and roll legend Jerry Lee Lewis, and Dennis Quaid was terrific in this movie. Of course, you had Winona Ryder in this. Alec Baldwin was also in this movie, and I mean, Dennis Quaid, I thought really embodied the role of Jerry Lee Lewis. He played that role pretty well. And like he really sang like Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, "Great Balls of Fire" is an iconic song right there, and Dennis Quaid did a pretty good job at singing his like that tune. And I mean, I can't remember if Dennis Quaid scored like any award recognition for this, but if he didn't, I think he should have got some sort of nomination because he was that good in this movie. I mean, if you guys never had a chance to check out Great Balls of Fire yet, I'd say give it a go. It's pretty much like I mean the movie turns 30 this year, believe it or not, and it's a movie that I believe still holds up today. It's really terrific. And yeah, definitely check out Great Balls of Fire if you haven't. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, Footloose. 9, Yours, Mine, and Ours. 8, Wet Earth. 7, The Day After Tomorrow. 6, In Good Company. 5, The Parent Trap. 4, The Rookie. 3, Inner Space. 2, Any Given Sunday. 1, Great Balls of Fire. Now, he's been loads of other stuff over the years. Let me go to his credit list. He was pretty good in A Dog's Purpose, which of course has a sequel coming out in a couple more weeks. Let's see. I Can Only Imagine he was terrific in that movie. The Big Easy he was great in. He was also in the movie Legion, which was not that good. Soul Surfer he was terrific in, which is another sport movie. Enemy Mine, which is probably one of the most dumbest movies of the 80s, but it's pure fun, dumb. And he was in A Breaking Away, which is a classic. Vantage Point, Fly the Phoenix. The Right Stuff he was terrific in. Far From Heaven, Code Creek Manor, Dragonheart. I could go on and on with his films. Oh, not to mention he was in Jaws 3D, which is... Oh, God, that movie was so bad. He was also in Traffic. I mean, he had a pretty good... he has a really good resume here. Some not so good resumes, but hey, every actors don't have the best resume, you know. Anyway, let me leave you guys. What are some of your favorite Dennis Quaid movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Thomas L. signing out.